Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful sweater that you have just seen on the thumbnail. I will be demonstrating with different colors because I'm currently out of this color totally, but later on we shall get into the actual tutorial when I was using this same exact color. For the sake of demonstration, I will be using this yarn and this yarn. So this is robin yarn. It's a 4-ply chunky yarn, and this is butterfly yarn, and it's also a 4-ply chunky yarn. So just get 2 chunky yarns which have the same exact properties, and let's get started. If you prefer to make this sweater in the same exact color all through, then that's really up to you. I'm going to be just giving the general instructions, so choose your colors. You can use 3 colors, you can use 2 colors as I did, and let's get started and learn how to make this beautiful sweater. So for the materials, you will need the yarn that I told you about, 2 colors if you want the same look as mine. Then you also need a 6.5mm crochet hook, which is a kid hook, 6.5. And then you'll need a darning needle to weave in your ends, and a pair of scissors. A pair of scissors to cut the ends. So yeah, let's get started. So we are going to start off with our plain color. So you're going to have to take a measurement across your shoulder, from one end of the shoulder to the other end, stretched across. So for me, I will start off with my green color, or the plain color. If you have 2 colors, one plain and then the other one with different colors, then you're going to start with your plain color. Just like I did for this one, I started off with black. I started from the bottom going all the way up. So I can't demonstrate with a black yarn. I will be demonstrating with something that you can actually see. So you're going to start off with a slip knot. We're starting off with the front panel. So make your slip knot and make a chain that measures that measurement that you took from one end of one shoulder to the other end all the way across, so without being stretched. So for me, I did a total of 50 chains. Those are 4, so I have my 50 chains, and I'll chain one more to make a total of 51, because I want a total of 50 stitches across. So the chain 1 counts as a turning chain, and then I'm going to make a half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So half double crochet is yarn over, skip the very first chain, which is this one, and go into the second chain from the hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all, and then half double crochet into each and every chain across. So you should be having the number of chains that you made for your foundation chain minus the turning chain. So the number of stitches should be equal to the number of chains that you did in the beginning minus the turning chain. So since I had a total of 50 chains before I chained the extra one, which was the turning chain, I should expect a total of 50 half double crochets for row 1. So we're coming to the end of our row and I have only one chain left. I'll go into it with one half double crochet like that, and that marks the end of row 1. Row 2, you're going to chain 1, turn your work. That chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, so we're going to go into the very first half double crochet, which is this one, and you're going to place one half double crochet into it and continue to half double crochet into each and every stitch from the row below, meaning each row 2 is going to have the same exact number of half double crochets as row 1. So since I had a total of 50 half double crochets for row 1, I will have a total of 50 half double crochets for row 2 as well. Make sure you don't skip any stitch so that we can have straight edges. So you're going to keep repeating this. Let me just get done with row 2 and I show you how that looks like. Alright guys, so I'm coming to the end of row 2 and I'm still placing half double crochet into each and every half double crochet from the row below. And don't forget to always go into the very last half double crochet, which is this one. Make sure you never skip the very last stitch, otherwise you're going to be decreasing your stitches and you'll eventually get a slant instead of a flat panel on the side edge. So we are done with row 2. We're going to repeat row 2 until we get the length that we want for our sweater before the neckline opening. So for me, I'm going to repeat this and I'll show you the sequence that I use to determine when to join different yarn. So you're going to go ahead. Let me introduce the actual cardigan. You're going to go ahead and work all the way up until the neckline opening, and I'll explain to you how many rows that I will do for each and every color before I switch to a different color. So I currently have a total of 30 rows. I did 5 of black, then 1, then 4, then 2, then 3, 3, 2, 4, 1, and 5. All right, so after your 30th row, you're going to get 2 stitch markers. Let me get brighter ones so that you can see them. You're just going to get 2 stitch markers, and you're going to, depending on the number of stitches that you had across, you're going to remove 10 stitches. So since I had a total of 50 stitches across, I have to subtract 10 stitches, and 50 minus 10 is 40, and that remaining number, which is 40, divided by 2. So you'll have 20 stitches on this side, 20 stitches on this side, and 10 stitches in the middle. So 10 in the middle, and then divide the remaining number by 2. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And into the 20th, you're going to place a stitch marker there. And you're going to do the same on this other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. So you should have 10 stitches in between here. We're going to start making decreases. We're going to first work this first part, and then we shall work the second part. So you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and half double crochet into each stitch until you have 1 stitch to the stitch marker. So until you have this stitch and the stitch with the stitch marker, then we shall make a decrease, as I'll show you later on. So just chain 1 and move onto across your row until you have 2 stitches, the one with a stitch marker and this one next to it. This is row 31. I've done the same exact thing until I have a total of 18 half double crochets across, and now I'm going to make a decrease in the next 2 stitches. So prepare for a half double crochet, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, then insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop and yarn over, pull through all. So that is our first decrease. We are going to first work on this side because we are creating the shaping for the neckline. So after that, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, and then into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook and yarn over, pull through all. And then into all the remaining stitches, we're just going to place 1 half double crochet into each until the end. So we are just going to create decreases on the inner side of the neckline for a total of 5 rows, so that we have a total of 35 rows all together on one side, and then we shall go on to the other side. Okay, so just go ahead and place 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way across. So after this, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to half double crochet into each stitch until you have 2 stitches left on your row. Alright, so we currently have 2 stitches left. You're going to make a decrease just like we did before, and then go into the last stitch and pull up a loop and yarn over, pull through all. So that means we have a total of 33 rows on this side. Then chain 1, turn your work. This is row 34. Make a decrease, and then 1 half double crochet across into each and every stitch. Alright, so chain 1, turn your work. This is our very final row on this side because it's row 35. So we've done a total of 5 rows of decreasing on the inner neckline area. Just do 1 half double crochet into each stitch until you have 2 stitches left and make a decrease. So we have 2 stitches left. We are going to make a decrease just like we did before, and yarn over, pull through all, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through, and then you're going to leave a long strand for attaching your pieces together. Just leave a long strand and pull through this. So we're going to repeat the same exact thing on this side. You can see we are creating the neckline opening, and this is the front panel of our work. So grab your yarn, and you're going to attach your yarn where the second stitch marker was. I've removed the stitch markers right now, but this is where my second stitch marker was. And 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. You should be having 10 stitches in between here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. So you should be having 10 stitches in between. And then you're going to attach your yarn, chain 1, make a decrease. And I think by now you know how to make the decrease. And over pull through all. And then you're going to make 1 half double crochet into each and every stitch across. Until you get to the end of the row. Like that. And that means right now we have 31 rows on this side, and we want a total of 35. So we're going to go ahead and keep decreasing on the inner side of the neckline, just like we did on the opposite side. Chain 1 turn, 1 half double crochet until you have 2 stitches left. So when you have 2 stitches left, just make a decrease into that, like that. And then you're going to chain 1 and turn, and keep doing this until you have a total of 35 rows on this side as well. You can see our sweater is now lifting to create that round neck. Alright, so after your 35 rows, you'll have something that looks like this. This is the neckline opening. And now we are going to chain 1, cut our yarn. Sorry, you're going to leave a long strand for attaching. Pull through. And at this moment, the front panel is literally done. This is what we have. And we are going to go onto the back panel. So for the back panel, you're going to repeat the same exact process that you did for the front panel, same exact color combination or whatever you wish to use, until you have 2 rows less than the total number of rows that you had for the front panel. So the front panel had a total of 35 rows, and right now I have a total of 33 rows. So same number of stitches. We had 50 for the front panel, and we should be having 50 stitches for the back panel. So this time we are going to subtract 16 stitches instead of 10 that we did for the front panel. So 50 minus 16 is 34, and 34 divided by 2 is 17 stitches. So you're going to count 17 on both ends. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17, and into the 17th you're going to place your stitch marker there, and then same applies to this side. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17, and into that stitch you should be having a total of 16 stitches across here in between the stitch markers. So we're going to start our decreases, and this time we're going to decrease for only a total of 2 rows for the back panel, because we don't want our sweater to go so low at the back. So chain 1 turn, 1 half double crochet into each and every stitch until you have 2 stitches the one with the stitch marker and the one next to it. So just do 1 half double crochet, okay. So now we have the one with the stitch marker, which is this one, and then the one next to it. You can now remove the stitch marker and then make a decrease, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, insert your hook into the last stitch, the one that had the stitch marker, and yarn over, pull through all. Then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, make a decrease, and then 1 half double crochet across until the end of the row. Okay, so after this, you're going to chain 1 and leave a long strand for attaching. And we're going to do the same exact thing on this side. So you can see that opening. We don't want it to be so wide at the back, so deep, sorry. So you're going to grab your yarn, attach it into the stitch with a stitch marker. So let me just put my hook there so that I don't lose the stitch. Attach your yarn, chain 1, and make a decrease. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. And then we've done our very first decrease at that point. Then you're going to half double crochet all the way across to the end of the row. Chain 1, turn your work, and half double crochet until you have 2 stitches left on your row. So we have 2 stitches left, make a decrease, and then you're going to chain 1 and leave a long strand. I leave long strands for just in case we need them for attaching. We don't have to introduce new yarn. Okay, so this is how the back panel looks like. And when you lay it flat like this, and then you bring your front panel like that, this all makes sense. You can see the front panel is deeper than the back panel. We have a deeper opening at the front panel than the back panel. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to work on the sleeves, and I'll be showing you how to do that before we start attaching anything. All right guys, so when it comes to the sleeve, we are basically going to do the same exact thing that we did at the main body on the front and back panel. So I decided to start with a foundation chain of 45 chains. You should make sure this comfortably goes around your sleeve, and you're going to choose how big or how loose you want your sleeve to be, or how tight you want it to be. So for me, I went with 45, and that was loose enough for a small to medium. So 45 chains, and then go back on that chain with half double crochet. Don't forget to chain the extra one so that you have exactly 45 chains, 45 stitches all the way across. And then for the body, I did 1 row of the multicolored yarn, and then 4 rows, 1 2 3 4 4 rows of the black, and then 2 rows of the multicolored and 3 rows of the black, 3 rows of the multicolored, 2 rows of the black, and then 4 rows of the multicolored, 1 row of the black. Then when it comes to this part, I did 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Yeah, I did 7 rows of the multicolored, and that marked the end of my sleeve. I'm in the process of joining it here. That's why you see it's attached to something here. And that brings me to my next part. The moment you're done with the sleeve, you're going to join it to the main body of the sweater. As you can see here, find the best way to join it, either using a slip stitch, a darning needle, or a single crochet stitch, whatever you prefer to use. Just lay it flat and make sure you use stitch markers so that you pin down the points where you want the sleeve to attach to. And then after joining this part like this, we are now going onto the ribbing of the sleeve. As you can see here, I want the sleeve ribbing to be tight and to come in to create that puff sleeve. So the moment you're done with this, after joining onto the main body of the sweater, you're also going to join here, join row to row all the way across. And then if you're like me and you want to join everything together after working the ribbing, that's also fine. Let me show you how to make the sleeve ribbing. So I will be demonstrating this ribbing using the brighter color because the black will be a little bit confusing and you may not view exactly what's happening. So you're going to start off with a slip knot, and you're going to attach into the very first chain, which is this one. Attach, and then you're going to make a chain of 9, or the length that you want for your ribbing. You can do 7, you can do 9. It should be an odd number. That's how I usually do my work. Then you're going to go into the second chain from the hook and make a single crochet into the next, and single crochet all the way down to the main body of the sleeve. So you will have a total of 8 single crochets all together. So the moment you're done with this, you are now going to slip stitch into the next stitch and slip stitch into the next stitch like that, and then turn your work and single crochet, back loop only. So a stitch has this loop here and then the one at the back, so we're going only into the back loop and single crocheting, and you should be having a total of 8 single crochets back loop only for row 2 of your ribbing. Okay, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet, back loop only all the way down for a total of 8 single crochets. So working in the back loop is going to help us create that ribbed effect when it comes to the sleeve ribbing. And this time we're going to do something different. We are going to slip stitch into the next chain, slip stitch into the next chain, and slip stitch into the next. So that's a total of 3, and then turn our work and single crochet, back loop only. Chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet, back loop only. And this time we are going to slip stitch into the next 4 chains. So this is the first one, the second one, the third one, and then the fourth one, and then turn your work, then single crochet back loop only. All right, chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet back loop only. So since the previous time we slip stitched into the next 4 stitches, which was here, now we're going to slip stitch into the next 3. 1, 2, and 3, and then turn your work and single crochet back loop only. Okay, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet back loop only. And then the next one, you're going to slip stitch into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, because the previous one we went into 3 of them. So turn your work and single crochet back loop only. So that's the repeat. We are going to just keep alternating between 3 stitches and then 4 stitches with a slip stitch. So these are 4, chain 1, then in the next section you're going to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, and 3, turn your work. So this is going to help us bring in the cuff of the sleeve to hold our wrist very tightly. You can change this sequence depending on the tightness that you want around your wrist. But as you can see, it's starting to pull the sleeve inwards. So let me just continue and finish up this part, and I'll meet you back to show you what to do next. Alright guys, so I've made it all the way around the sleeve, and this is what I've gotten. It's not so small, but if you want something smaller than this, maybe something like this, then maybe you would have done 4 slip stitches all through without the 3. 4 slip stitches all through when it comes to the main body of the sleeve. So the moment you're done with this and you're satisfied with the fitting around the wrist, let me show you how that fits around mine. I think this is fine. This is better than having a very huge opening for my wrist area. So the moment you're done with this, as I had told you before, you're going to join either using a slip stitch or a single crochet or a darning needle. So at this point you can just, if you're using a darning needle, you are going to leave a very long strand, and then you'll use the strand and the darning needle to join these pieces together all through. If you're using a single crochet or a slip stitch, then you don't have to cut your yarn. You're going to just go ahead and work these stitches and join them all the way across, and make sure you're working on the wrong side of your work so that the slip stitches don't show on the right side. So make sure you turn your work onto the wrong side and start joining all the way across. So stitch to stitch, and when it comes to the main body of the sleeve, you'll be joining row to row. So this is what I mean. I'm joining my very last stitch of the ribbing, as you can see here. Now you're going to start joining row to row, and if you're using slip stitch, this is how it's going to be. Just make sure you match your work and you don't miss any row or any stitch when you're joining. So the moment you're done with this, let me turn my work onto the other side and I show you how it looks like. So this is what you'll have. I think this is even neater than what I did. I personally did darning needle, and it gave me kind of a rough joining, but slip stitch is going to give you something very neat. So go ahead and join the bottom part of your sleeve and the side of your cardigan, and then I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so you are now going to join this part of the sleeve, the lower part of the sleeve, as well as the side of the cardigan, the main body of the cardigan, using either a darning needle or a single crochet or a slip stitch. That's going to totally be up to you, but I used a darning needle to join this part as well as this part, and this is what it gave me. It's not very neat. I think I can do better, but that's the approach that I went for. Okay, so after joining your sleeve, you're going to have something that looks like this. We've joined the downer part as well as the side of the sweater, and you're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing on the opposite side. Create your sleeve, attach a ribbing to the sleeve, and then you join the sleeve onto the body of the main body of the sweater. And right now we have the basic structure finished, and now we are going to decide whether we want a ribbing for the downer part of the sweater. That's totally optional. If you want your sweater to be just loose fitting, then this is the final stage for you. If you want to get a ribbing around the neckline, you can go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do that because I just want a simple structure for my sweater. And this is basically it, guys, and this is the final product. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.